Let's go to tier 4 here, guys, because a lot of names to sort through here. As you see, Bill does make the list. His ascension continues. Charbonnet is on this list as well, Matthew. There's a lot of guys that are in committee backfields. As you see, the 2 Minnesota guys in this range as well, Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason, the newly acquired Jordan Mason.
Mason, who's averaged over 5 yards per carry in every season in his career and should get a lot of the early down, short yardage work. They're going to use Jones in the passing game. He was top 8 among running backs last year in receptions and receiving yards. And so for a young quarterback like J.J. McCarthy, they're going to use Aaron Jones, especially, again, as we talked about. They just got Adam Thielen because Addison's suspended, Naylor's banged up. So I actually think both guys, especially where they're going, have value this year. We've talked a ton about Ja'Cory, Krosky, Merritt, Bill. He comes in at running back 30 for me as well. Have him as a top 30 guy. And I will say that Jaylen Warren, I think, is sort of interesting here just because, it seems like Caleb Johnson is slow on the uptick. They're using Kenneth Gainwell. Jaylen Warren feels like the guy that they have the most confidence in what is going to be a run-heavy scheme. Rodgers not scared to dump it off to a running back.
And I think that's the underlying factor. Aaron Rodgers, if you're a running back next to him and you don't know the protections or the routes, he doesn't want you out there. And I like Caleb Johnson a lot. I think he's the future of that backfield. I don't have much expectations for him early in the season, unfortunately.
Yep. Matthew, the backfield I think the most just random texts about from friends, and I think it's maybe the most confusing backfield in the NFL is the Jags.
Yeah.
We've got Travis Etienne, we've got Tank Bigsby, we've got Bashal Tutin. Very confusing where it seemed like Tank Bigsby in training camp was getting most of the run with the Stars, but in preseason it's Etienne. So what are you doing with that backfield?
Yeah, I'm taking a stab late and just look. I think Tutin's really interesting, but I think at least early on it's going to be Etienne and Bigsby in that order. I think that one of them is going to end up at the year with a lot of value, and I think we just don't know. So I'm very high on the Jaguars' offense this year, as you guys know. I think Lawrence is a great pick. Obviously, BTJ and Travis Hunter I'm all in on. Brenton Strange and Parker Washington in super deep leagues late. But so what I'm doing with that is I'm just sort of, I don't want multiple pieces of this backfield. So just depending on where it is in your draft and how your roster construction is going, I'm taking a stab at one of them. I've wound up with more Etienne and Tutin than I have Bigsby this year, just in terms of the way drafts have gone. But that's my sort of take, is that one of those guys is going to emerge, and that it's worth, because of how late they're going, that it's worth taking a shot on one of them.
Let's open up tier 5 with Tank Bigsby, who kicks off that list. And this is a lot of guys that are handcuff backs, depth options as well, and then other players that are, look at Javonte Williams. He should be the starter for the Cowboys, but ultimately, Matthew, what does that mean? Nick Chubb could be the starter for the Texans, but what does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, right? I think we just haven't seen it, right? We just haven't seen it.
They have anything left. Yeah.
Right, and he's not going to be used on third down. So whether it's Dario Gumbawale or Woody Marks, again, we think that it'll be more pass happy. I don't mind him if you're in this range. Just sort of sure, why not? He's Nick Chubb. Could he fall in? There's a chance where Joe Mixon doesn't play football this year. Again, this injury, it's been lingering. We already know he's missing 4 games. We don't know when he's coming back. So there's a chance that Nick Chubb, has 3 yards per carry, but winds up with double-digit touchdowns just because of the nature of he's getting the work. Now we'll see if they sign any veterans in the next few days, but it looks like Nick Chubb is going to be over Dameon Pierce to lead this backfield, and it's sort of ugly and inefficient, but I could see him, kind of falling his way into, a running back 3 low-end flex kind of value.
I think you need to get a little more chubby. I think that he is. I think it's instructive that they haven't gone out and gotten another running back. And he was the guy with the starters in preseason. And also in the preseason game, he didn't look like Nick Chubb in 2022, but he was 5 for 25. He looked okay. He looked like an NFL running back. And he's presumably will get better as the season goes on, as well as he gets more tread on the tires, gets more back up to speed. So look, he is the number 1 running back in an offense with C.J. Stroud and Nico Collins.
Real quickly, what do you do with Cleveland's backfield? Judkins isn't even there.
You'd love to not have to rely on any of it, but if you do, I think the only thing I'd be interested in doing is grabbing Judkins for free at the end and maybe you stash him. If you have a stash-worthy spot. If you don't have a roster that you can do that, don't do that. I'm not relying on any of the guys in front of him right now to give us significant production. They have too many problems.
It looks like Samson and Jerome Ford are going to split the workload early on in the season here, and they're both going in this range. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotorWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched. Or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.